all ye people. Give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor, together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. I will incline mine ears to a parable. I will open my dark saying upon the harp. Wherefore should I fear in the days of evil, when the iniquity of my heel shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth and boast themselves in the multitude of their riches, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him. For the redemption of their soul is precious, it ceases forever. He should still live forever and not see corruption. For he seeth that wise men die, likewise the fool and the brutish person perish, and leave their wealth to others. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, that their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. Nevertheless, man being in honor abideth not. He is like the beast that perishes. This their way is their folly, yet their posterity approve their saying, Selah. Like sheep they are afraid in the grave. Death shall feed on them, and the upright shall have dominion over them in the morning, and their beauty shall consume in the grave from their dwelling. But God will redeem the soul, my soul, from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me, Selah. Be not afraid when one is made rich, when the glory of his house is increased. For when he dieth, he shall carry nothing away, his glory shall not descend after him. Though while he lived, he blessed his soul, and men will praise thee when thou doest well to thyself. He shall go to the generations of his father, and they shall never see light. Man that is in honor and understandeth not is like beasts that perish. Psalms chapter 49. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have spoiled the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish me in my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forevermore. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20, a prayer of Abraham. Yes, all praises, all praises, all praises, all praises, all praises, all praises to the Most High. He is honorable. He is glorious. Yes, all things belong unto him. Who can render unto God any counsel or anything that he hath not already known? Yes, our God reigns. He reigns on high, and he sees the things and the actions of the children of men, and he knows just how to maneuver everything to the point where his will is carried out regardless. Yes, that is our God. You know, I like this psalmist here. He says, don't be afraid when your neighbor becomes rich, or your friend at work boasts of his new car or his new house or new home. Rejoice with him. Why? He's going to die and leave it. His children might sell his land. I mean, even if it don't go to children, the court's going to get it. Some kind of way, we only own it as long as we live. Woman, man, you only own that which you own as long as you live. Now, if you work all your life and never enjoy your children, never enjoy your husband or your wife, and never enjoy the things in life that brings joy, and to see the fruit of your labor come to blossom in your children, your offspring, your relatives, you're giving. You're inputting into the youth. You're inputting into things that count, that matters. Life births life. Life gives life. And it continues. You cannot just have a one-stop shop. No, you can't. Not a one-stop shop. God, there's a way. You think you're coming back as a butterfly, a horse, or a bee, or whatever. No, you're not. Oh, what about, ain't there too many? No, it's not too many souls for God. Eternity is huge. Eternity is bigger than whatever you can imagine. There's nothing, not even enough spirits that will fill it, even touch the bottom of it. And eternal damnation is even huge, very huge. But let us turn to this historical account of the history of Israel, the kings of Israel, really, a king of Israel, even David. It's an historical account. The Bible is not all the word of God, but it's about God. How did he deal with a people that were rebellious and rejectful of him? And every turn that God can see, the people were rebellious and rejectful of him. There have been very brief times where God could enjoy the praises and the hearts of the people for a moment. Very brief. Your little going to your church or your whatever camp or whatever, and your little praises that you do, that's not even a fraction of a second of a day in eternity versus the days of mankind, as according to the book of Jubilees. For a day is with God as 1,000 years. Adam did not even live 1,000 years, but he was the longest living man upon the earth. God let him suffer to see the era of his ways through watching his offspring battle and kill and maim and destroy each other. This had to be a torment to Adam. To listen to his woman. She was not the one brought down. She was not the one that causes mankind to suffer the way, but it was Adam who listened to the woman. Do you not know, even those of you that are married, the salesman is not going to come to the man most of the time. He's going to go to the woman. He understands that just even sales itself, you understand the woman is materialistic. She goes by the sight of her eyes more so than the man. I said more so than the man. Not that the man doesn't do it too, but more so than the man. And the man will hearken to the woman because of Adam. This was given to the man, but to stand for God in the midst of all of this is what God wants. Now that is a man after God's own heart. Now your woman wants to be, she really subdued man at that time with her wiles, and this thing has carried on through thousands of years, even to this day. That man, you just have to fight. When you're dealing with a woman, you have to fight within yourself. You have to fight so you won't knock her brains out. You have to fight so that you won't sit up there and dive down to where you go broke and giving and giving and giving and she never gives nothing back to you. You have to fight, and that here is this woman walking, and here you trying to walk according to the Most High, and she's married and trying to lure you into a web that you cannot get out, even if her husband comes against you and takes away that breath of life you have. Yes, you have to fight. God speaks to you, man. He speaks to you. You was his first creation. Your kind was his first creation. Every male on the planet of Earth was God's first creation. Then he created the female. As is, amongst the animals, amongst all, you have Aphrodite animals that can do these things, but this is the thing of God, that God does this thing. This is nothing for you effeminate to sit up there and try to justify your confusion and your ways of evil. No, it's nothing for you to do that. Only a fool would go along with that. But the fact is, God, our prosperity is in life. This is where our prosperity is life. Whether you live and you go and just experience God on the mountaintop, in the valley, in your meditation and praise or whatever, your reflection of the things, the goodness of the Most High. Yes, these life, because God is life. I ain't talking about no Isis. God is life. Yes, he is. And the life is in him. Now, I ain't talking about Isis either. This is taken away from God. You can't take away from God like that. This was orchestrated by God to draw you further away from him because of Deuteronomy chapter 28. You don't understand that. You say, oh, he don't know what he's talking about. Keep living and die. You're going to find out. But the thing is this. We thank God for you, and also we thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those of you that have been with us here and there's about, and we thank the Most High for those of you that have subscribed. Yes, we thank God for you. Yes, and we thank the Most High for those of you who are about to subscribe, calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, we're in the book of 2 Samuel. We stopped with the 33rd verse in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 19. Yes, we did. We're going to try to continue and complete chapter 20. Yes, as you prepare, many things I have hard sayings about. I really say hard stuff. It's not hard, it's just truth. It's just not hard. It's according to God's word. It's the only thing hard is you and me, should I say. We're the hard ones because we want what we want. It's not that we are robots or anything like that, but we have to call some things, like they say, it's a matter of taste. An acquired taste. You have to have an acquired taste for God. After so much being in paganism and all kind of things that have took your mind. Look at the movie Matrix. The movie Matrix, even as many have used it as an example, have shown a man that have only known a way of life and that was it. But when he's taken out of that and seen the real truth, he's sickened. He vomits. That was me. Yes. It will be you. You will fight. You're fighting. Many of you are fighting now that viewing this just for a little bit. If you got to this point in this video or this podcast, you're fighting. You're going to either shut it off or you're going to continue to listen and criticize. Even those of you that call yourself Hebrew Israelites, you're going to do the same thing because you're still caught in a matrix, especially if you're still into this Messiah thing. This Yahawashai, this Yahuwah, this Yahusha, yeah, whatever you want to call it. You're caught in a matrix. We already know about the rest of them. But you're still in a form of Christianity. And you're still conducting yourself after paganism in many ways that you don't even know. We must guard against paganism because this thing God hates. Number one, your relationship to God is number one. This is why the commandments, in the commandments structure, thou shalt have no other gods before me, was his first commandment. With that, there's nothing else you're going to do. You're not going to go with somebody's wife. You're not going to do none of these other things if thou would have God before anything else. Well, in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 34, we're gonna the book of 2 Samuel chapter 19 and 34, verse 34. And we stopped at 33. And Bezalel said unto the king, how long shall I have to live, that I should go up with the king unto Jerusalem? In other words, he wanted him to come to Jerusalem. And he says in verse 35, I am this day 80 years old, or 80 years old, and can I discern between good and evil? Can thy servant taste what I eat or what I drink? Can I hear any voice, the voice of singing men and singing women? Wherefore then should thy servant be yet a burden unto my king? Thy servant will go a little way over the Jordan with the king, and why should the king recompense me with such a reward? Let thy servant, I pray thee, turn back again, that I might die in mine own city, and be buried by the grave of my father and my mother. And behold, thy servant Chimham, let him go over with my king, and do to him as shall seem good unto thee. And the king answered, Chimham shall go with me, and I will do to him that which seemeth good to thee. And whatsoever thou shalt require of me, that will I do for thee. And all the people went over Jordan. Yes, they did. When the king was come over, the king, he kissed the old 80-year-old man Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned to his own place. And the king went on to Gilgal, and to Chimham went on with him, and all the people of Judah conducted the king. They served the king. And also half the people of Israel. And so, behold, all the men of Israel came to the king and said unto the king, why have our brethren, the men of Judah, stolen thee away? What? In other words, they're saying that here, this is the place where the king is. The city of David is in Judah, period. He even tell her that. and have brought the king and his household, all David's men with him, over Jordan. And all the king of Judah answered the men of Israel, because the king is near the kin of us. In other words, we his blood folks, our father is Judah. Judah was a valiant warrior. Therefore, then be ye angry for this matter. We have eaten at all the king's coast, or have he given us any gifts? And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and say, we have 10 parts in the king, and we have also more right in David than ye. Then why then ye despise us, that our advice should not be first had in bringing back our king? And the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel. In other words, it's the same thing you had. They did the same thing in Islam. You had your Shiite, and then you had your Sunni Islamists. In other words, these people saying, hey, we're looking at the overall picture. This is what the men of Israel are saying. We're looking at the overall. The king came from Jacob. We are children of Jacob. But then you boil it down, and then they say, oh, that's Jacob, but we're children of Judah, Jacob's child. But we're all cousins. Maybe distance, not twice removed, but we're cousins. We're the same seed line that is of Jacob. I didn't say bloodline. I didn't say DNA. That can identify you as far as who's your father. But the seed line. This is why they kept genealogies. It was important to know who their father was. They didn't have this DNA and all this other stuff. But God knew either way, by blood or by seed. God knew who was who, and he knows those who are his. Yes, he does, or his chosen. It's not for man to judge. This is God's domain. Your pride is foolish. When you say, oh, I am of the seed of Abraham, I am the seed of this and I am the seed of that. Your pride is very stupid, foolish. Instead of just doing which is right before the Most High. Now, it's okay to know the history of those who are of Jacob. But to argue over such a thing, you don't know who you are. Many of you do not know. You could be of this English. Your mother could have been the wife, or should I say, molested or assaulted by a Caucasian man in the slave trade. You do not know. But the keeping of the commandments is everything. The keeping of the ordinances is everything. The statutes and the laws, they're everything. Don't even worry about that, but worry that you understand and know God. It's not your fault that God mixed things up because of your ancestors, but it's your fault if you do not follow those things that they have agreed to. And that he have also prescribed for the whole world before he even got to Israel. The same laws, statutes, commandments, and ordinances. Yes. But now here we see that David is returned back to Israel, and Israel is fighting over him. And we're going to stop right here so that we can go to a complete chapter. But either way, we see that God is restoring Israel as far as their king. And still, people don't get it. Their king, the one directing their king is the king. He is the king of kings in Israel. We're not talking about the world here. God is the king of kings in Israel. He's the king of David. Think about it. He's the king of Saul. He's the king of the children of Saul. He's the king of all the world. King of kings. In other words, God. You missed it. So therefore, with all of that, His commandments, statutes, ordinances, and laws. And with that, we're going to have some peace.
Walk with me.